Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have an amendment ending in .41H and has been distributed, and I move for its adoption.
The lady from Caldwell has offered House Amendment 12. Lady from Caldwell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My amendment adds a majority floor leader's consent for when the Speaker is deciding to dissolve or discharge representatives off of any conference, interim, or special standing committee. I will take questions, but if no one has any questions, I renew my motion.
Gentleman from Jackson.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate this sentiment from the lady from Caldwell. However, I do not think it's the right thing to do. This would inject another person into this process. I don't think it would have any substantive effect on whether members are kept on committees or off. As I've discussed with the lady, if a speaker wanted someone off a committee, they could just keep them on and form another committee and send bills to that committee. Functionally, I don't think this would do anything. Like I said before, I have confidence in our speaker. I think the rules should stay in place, and I would ask that the body vote it down.
Further discussion on House Amendment 12. Gentleman from St. Louis City.
To speak in support.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the lady presenting this change. I believe she's a freshman, but clearly has been paying attention to how things work around here. Because we have seen a number of times where a bill is about to be voted on. We saw this happen last year. A bill was about to be voted on in committee, and at the very last minute, the members got changed. Specifically removing members from committee, though, a committee that they have been on and have been a voting member on, is particularly offensive when they're likely getting removed because they don't support a speaker's agenda. Now, I don't know if this speaker is going to do that. He may or may not. And frankly, from a minority caucus member's perspective, it probably doesn't help us much. I'd love if it had the minority leader as well had to sign off on it. But simply adding a second person from the majority caucus, who you've put trust in as a leader, to say they at least need to both agree on taking this person off a committee, doesn't seem like a lot to ask, and it's a pretty small step, but good step, toward decentralizing power from one person. For that reason, I'd be supporting it, and I would sure hope that the rest of the body would too. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Gentleman from St. Charles.
To inquire of the amendment maker, please.
Please proceed. Oh, does the amendment maker yield? Lady from Caldwell.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So we talked about this a little bit this morning. This is an interesting idea that I don't think we've heard here on this floor before, and I gotta be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I do agree with the gentleman from the floor leader district that adding additional people into what is usually an extraordinary process could muddy up the waters. I have a little concern that sometimes these things happen rather rapidly for a very specific reason, and if someone wasn't available or if there maybe was disagreement, that would maybe cause some problems. On the other hand, theoretically, most of the time, our leadership are kind of on the same page about things, and this is not something that happens regularly. So I think this is an interesting idea to explore. However, I will say this, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. I do think there was one issue with how this is drafted that perhaps would maybe prohibit us from actually applying it today, and that's that you only have this limitation on the special committees and the transient committees, which are by their nature supposed to be temporary. That's the reason we have special committees set up in the rules as opposed to standing committees. And so I guess my concern is if we want to have this discussion, which I'm certainly open to that concept, we really, in order to make it effective, would really need to have it apply to the standing committees as well. Otherwise, quite frankly, I'm not sure that this really would apply in practice, except for in the circumstances in which we'd want to dissolve the special committee because it's a special committee. It was just set up for a limited use. Can you respond to that, or maybe give me your thoughts as to kind of where you're at on this and maybe where you'd like to see this discussion move forward?
Yes, I do agree. I think, it should at some point get involved with standing committees, but I think this is a good step in that direction.
Okay, so you're just kind of wanting to start the body moving towards the idea of maybe having leadership collaborate more on the official side of things within the rules, as opposed to, clearly they're doing that now anyway as part of our normal day-to-day operations, but you'd just like to see that codified. Is that kind of what I'm getting?
Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that thought. I'm not sure that today's maybe the way or the time to do it, but I do like that you brought this up, and great discussion. So
Yep,
thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion on House Amendment 12? Seeing none, Leader from